All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the STEM Files. We are the voice of STEM talent and Black culture, where we highlight the best and brightest in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the scientific and mathematical principles behind the science of mating. I know you heard me right. We're talking about the science of mating,
Come on.
not traditional sciences you can think of that we usually cover in STEM. But we're going to be talking about the science of mating, the science of human interaction, human relationships, male-female relationships, the whole nine. All right, family. So just stay tuned for more after this.
Praise the Lord.
I'm going to play that one more time.
Yes, sir.
All right, once again, welcome back to STEM Files, the voice of STEM talent and Black culture. We highlight the best and brightest in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in the Black and Brown communities. If you're watching us live, go ahead and follow us on all our social media platforms at
Yes, sir.
Cardiac Engineer, at the STEM Files on Twitter and TikTok, and the STEM Files on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. This is Thursday, so you know it's STEM Files Thursday, so just keep it locked with us for the next hour. Tonight, we're going to be talking with marriage experts, marriage specialists, Brother Marcus and Sister Cecilia Muhammad out of Atlanta, Georgia. They're going to be talking to us about the science. Now, let me give you a backdrop to this episode. I was in Atlanta. Well, my wife and I were in Atlanta celebrating my sister-in-law's graduation from law school. And yeah, shout out to Kiana. Shout out to Kiana.
Yes,
And brother rolled up on me in the back when I was coming out the bathroom saying, we're gonna be on your show, right? I was like, I didn't know you watched my show. It was a good interaction, but we're gonna be talking about something that's not typically under the umbrella of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics as we know it, the hard sciences, the chemistry, architecture, and stuff like that. But we're going to be talking about something that's very heavy in science. And we're taught in Islam there are three things that is kept away from the state: science of mating, science of business, and the science of warfare. So we're going to be talking about mating today. And I'm sure we'll cover those other two in future episodes. We're going to be talking about human relationships, male-female relationships, and just the entire dynamic of how mating is, the science of it, the essence of it. So without any further ado, welcome to the platform, Brother Marcus and Cecilia. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you, brother, for inviting us to your program. We're very happy to be here. Sister Cecelia will be along shortly.
Yes, sir.
Appointment, but I'm going to cover for her until she gets here, inshallah.
So before we get started, can you tell us a little bit about you and Sis, what you all do in marriage counseling, how you got started, and your marriage journey personally with you and your queen?
Well, by Allah's grace, brother, this July 4th, 2022, me and Sister Cecelia will have our 30th anniversary as a married
Praise be to
couple.
Allah. Yes, sir.
And we are very thankful to Allah to make it to 30 years. We thank Him for His care and love of us in protecting our marriage and keeping us strong in the marriage. because there are so many people that are listening to what we have to say, and listening to what Minister Farrakhan is guiding them to do through us. We are very happy about that. We have the marriage retreats, that this is our 12th anniversary coming up. And this year we're going to be in the city of St. Louis, Missouri. And it is on August 25th through August 28th. And we hope that you all will come to see what God has blessed us with. We have cutting edge information to share with you about your marriage.
Come on.
There are a lot of us who are married, but we have never assessed our marriage in any shape, form, or fashion. And especially as you start getting to 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, you find that there have been bumps that you all have swept up under the rug, and the rug is getting a little too high for y'all to keep on stepping over it. So we pray a lot that you will come to this year's marriage retreat. It is not just for people who have a little problem, but people who are doing well in marriage.
Come on.
We want them to come and share with us what they're doing in their marriage, because that's what Minister Farrakhan wants us to do. He wants us to be united. And what better way to unite than come to the marriage retreat and share your victories with us?
Those who are interested in going to that marriage retreat, there's going to be a link, right? Well, there is a link right there in the description. If you're watching on YouTube, it's in the description. If you're watching on Facebook, it's in the caption. It'll say marriage retreat. There'll be a link right underneath it. So if you're interested in going, St. Louis, Missouri, that's an interesting city. I've never actually been there, but it'll be amazing to see the turnout and see how many of the believers come to that, or anyone for that matter. Like that's going to be a very event. But let's get right into it. First and foremost, so let's talk about who you guys are, what you represent, how you got involved in marriage counseling. Hold on.
Well, I can tell you in short that me and Sister Cecelia are very interested in counseling because we received counseling for our marriage. Believe it or not, we went to our regional officials and they helped us to get our marriage right when it was going a little crazy. And I just want to encourage us, because we have to take the stigma off of counseling. A lot of us, we feel like, I've had brothers tell me, he put his pants on the same way I do. But so does the car mechanic. So does the person who's fixing your plumbing. They put their pants on the same way you are doing it. Why are you tripping when it comes to getting counseling from somebody who now, by Allah's grace, is being trained in the art of counseling? I can tell you, I'm in school now, brother. I know that we don't generally like school, but I had to go back to school because I wanted to finish up my degree, and I have that now by Allah's grace, and now I'm getting my master's degree in marriage and family counseling, and I'm a year or so away from that. And I just want to let you all know that we have to strive hard as men to better ourselves. This is not your father's Oldsmobile. You have to try and strive to better yourself. Where you are today is good, but can you be better? That's always the question that's in the back of our wives' mind. Can we be better? And so that's what I'm asking everybody to strive. And that's what the marriage retreat is about. It's all about striving to be better than you were yesterday. That's what it's all about.
You mentioned something very key about being qualified and trained to do counseling, marriage counseling to people who need it. Does that make a difference in the outcome of the counseling? Like if somebody,
I think it does, brother.
huge difference. Like if somebody was to come to you and be like, "Look, I have issues in my marriage and I need help." Is it better for them to go to the qualified individuals who are trained or who have the experience in counseling and marriage versus somebody who?
Well, a lot of us are winging it. And that is a term that I learned from my great Western regional minister. We're winging it. We've never been to school for any of what we are doing, but that does not mean you can't go back to school and learn what you are actually talking about. If you're going to an unqualified person, and that's a lot of us, I would recommend that you go to them, get what they can give you because they're going to give you a great deal. I was an unqualified person myself. But now what I'm learning in school is so valuable to the marriage process. And I thank you so very much for being patient with me as I've grown through these years. I thank Allah for Minister Farrakhan and the wisdom that he imparts to us. It's wonderful. It's magnificent. We need to ingest it and apply it more to our marriages because so many of us, we hear the wisdom, but Jesus said, be ye doers of the word, not just hearers only. Many of us are specialists when it comes to hearing Minister Farrakhan, but we're not doing much of what he's saying. And that is a sincere problem that our nation has, doing more of what the minister is actually saying to us to do.
I have a number of things. First off, I want to start by giving thanks, first and foremost to Allah and the person of Master Muhammad, because for those who don't know, and I tell this story sometimes, but Brother Marcus and Sister Cecilia are directly responsible for me and my wife meeting now about 6 years ago at a Savior's Day single social. And then Brother Marcus will tell you I was like so shiny and bright and bushy-tailed that day coming into that situation. And I met my wife and we had conversation, and then we moved forward, coming back together a couple years later to engage courtship and then get married. So I thank them every time I see them and remind them that I hope y'all remember that, Allah worked through you two to formulate our meeting. I wanted to define a couple terms and really help to, kind of frame what we're talking about, to understand that we're really talking about high science here when we talk about mating.
Absolutely.
So when we define science, right? Science is a noun as the intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment. It's a systematically organized body of knowledge on a particular subject. Now let's go to mating, right? Obviously, come together for breeding or copulate, but also to connect or be connected mechanically. So we are trying to understand a systematic thought process involved in coming together as two different beings. Right. That requires a high level methodology that you can not only hear and understand, but truly begin to apply, putting one foot in front of the other as you both grow in oneness towards your creator. See, marriage becomes much more than a piece of paper when we apply our mathematical theology, which we're taught is Islam, to it, and we move forward. So as brother was talking, he was talking about being hearers of good words, especially from the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. That sounded a lot like building of an equation. For those who know me, I like to always talk about the equation for work, which is force times distance. Now, a lot of us may put in an initial force, which can be equated to the hearing of the word, but we don't really go anywhere with it by applying it. Thereby, we do zero work. So now, if we as people are supposed to really be found meeting and overcoming all obstacles in our path, what does our marriage tool belt look like?
Right.
Is it full or is it empty? Do I have the requisite tool set or do I not? Do I have to go to the store? Right? If this is a chemical process or what have you, and it's going at a certain rate, right? I can introduce a catalyst to make it go faster. And the catalyst could be counseling. The catalyst could be talking to your brother or sister. The catalyst could be prayer or study to then increase the fruitfulness of what you all are engaged in, which is marriage. So I hope that is helping us really frame that there is a deep science to mating. And the better we understand this as men and as women, and we really understand that the man is not like the male is not like the female, and vice versa, the more fruitful and productive our relations will be, and the farther we'll go as a nation.
Wow, that is so beautiful, brother. Thank you. First, I thank Allah that we were helpful to you in finding your tenderoni.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Also tender.
He's so cool with it.
Right.
He's not no stick in the mud with it, not no sitting on the couch with your glasses on and your legs folded saying, how does that make you feel? Nah, this is the type of counseling. This is like real with real. Like, I love it. And I also try me and my wife are also products of the magnificent counseling that my brother Marcus and Cecilia have put together for married couples. When me and my wife, when we first got married in 2015, Brother Marcus and Sister Cecilia were the first couple to counsel us after we had gotten married, to really help us understand what marriage is, help us to understand how each of us look at things individually. And then we were able to bring that together. And here we are almost 7 years later, and we're growing each year by year. And it's truly a blessing. So I want to thank you for those sessions as well. I definitely appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. And I want to say to you that if you thought we gave you something then, you should come to what we got now. We have so much more to offer the brothers and sisters. That's why we're urging you to come to the marriage retreat. A lot of people don't know this, but the marriage retreat is like Savior's Day for your marriage. That's what it's like. Because there's so much love that you're going to feel from the moment you walk in the door to the time you leave. You ain't gonna want to go back to your city because we have such a high intensity of love. Now, I want to share this with you, brothers.
Yes, sir.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has asked us. He said, did we know that when Howard University was being set up in Congress, they were arguing over what Howard was going to teach Black people?
Come on.
And white folks in Congress said, well, we don't know why we're setting up this college for Black people, because we're never going to teach them the science of business, science of warfare, or the science of mating.
Listen.
They knew they wasn't going to teach us that. The point is that right now, no land grant college is fulfilling the aim of what's called the Moral Act. The Moral Act, not one. So liberal arts education has crept in to knock out the type of education that land grant colleges were designed to produce. I love, Minister Farrakhan said he loves Howard University. But when white people set up Howard, General Oliver Otis Howard, the man after whom the college was named, was not in favor of government teaching Black people the science of business, the science of warfare, and the science of mating. and that was put in the congressional record according to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's so powerful, brother.
Yes, sir.
They don't want us to know nothing of the science of business, the science of warfare, and the science of mating. Why don't they want us to know?
Come on.
Because we will be an even greater people if we had that knowledge. And we are in the process of gaining that knowledge by Allah's grace through Minister Louis Farrakhan. That's what makes him so dangerous, because he not only knows, he's not afraid to tell you the information that he has in his beautiful head for us.
Yes, sir.
All praise is due to Allah.
Wow, praise be to Allah. I have so much as you're talking, because there's been so much in the last year plus on relationships, male roles, or social media, male roles, female roles, what they are, what they aren't, traditional, modern this, I'm a modern that, I'm high value this, I'm high value that. One of the things that I want us to break down, first and foremost, is the concept holistically behind what it means to be equally yoked. A lot of times, we're very one-dimensional with that. Oh, I make a lot of money, you don't, we're not equally yoked. Or I'm this religion, you're that, we're not equally yoked. Or I come from a big family, you come from a broken home, we're not equally yoked. What is a more comprehensive understanding of what it means to truly be equally yoked as one individual to another?
Minister Farrakhan had a counseling session with this brother and this sister, and he, to me, broke down the term equally yoked with this one statement. He asked the brother, he said, "Brother, how are you treating her? How are you treating her?" See, it doesn't matter what you know, it matters what you do with what you know. See, you may not have that same education that I have. Now, when I get my degree, I'm going to be educated, quote unquote, but I will never disrespect Sister Cecelia because she doesn't have it.
Come on.
See, you got to have basic mutual respect. That's
Muhammad.
What's missing in so many homes in North America, especially our people, because we don't respect nothing no more. We don't respect each other like we should. We will be on the train, the bus, we won't even look at each other. I'm from New York City.
Come on.
And I learned in New York City, they got a 3-second rule, unwritten. It's 3 seconds. You got 3 seconds to look at me, otherwise, then I'm gonna kill you.
Come on.
That's New York City.
It might be shorter in Philly. I don't know.
That we've lost so much in terms of just basic civility with each other, basic kindness, basic respect. We've lost it all, especially this generation of young people. This generation of young people don't care about nothing no more. And that's why you see them, young people, you notice that the 18-year-olds are going and shooting up everything. This is the kind of society, the kind of world that they've grown up in their entire life. And we have to get back to the science of mating, because so many of us, we don't know what mating is. We think mating is just sex. It's not just sex. It's a whole world. When Islam dignifies, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said,
that's right.
Marrying Islam, I'm not just marrying you, I'm marrying your family too.
Good teach. Come on, good teaching.
I am marrying your family. No matter how crazy they are, you think they are, and they are kind of crazy.
Come on.
However, you still have to show respect
That's right.
to the family. See, we've never learned how to show respect, because if you don't come from respect, if you don't respect nobody in your family, then when you get to my family, I expect the same treatment that you show no respect when you come in someone's home. See, that's wrong that we are doing that. That's wrong. And I can tell you that Minister Farrakhan says this about mating. He says, he asked in one of his lectures, he said, "What is the science of mating?" He said, "Now all of you know this takes place in the breeding of dogs and horses. And when they send some of these champion horses out to stud, they pay thousands upon thousands of dollars just for the sperm
Come on.
of the horse."
Come on.
Well, in the house of Rothschild,
Mm.
did you know how they married throughout Europe? This family married with that family, extending the house and building their businesses so that they're the richest house on earth. We don't do that. You go out to the bar room, you meet somebody in the crack house, or you're partying. See, white folks, the big ones, are not like that. They arrange meetings where this one will mate with that one and extend the house's fortune. That's a science we have to learn, to know how to match this one with that one and extend the growth and development of us as a people.
Woo! Y'all listening? Are y'all listen? I need some black. Put a black fist in the comment section if you listening. Put a black fist in the comment section if you're listening. Fam, we dropping jewels today. Y'all feeling sciencey yet? Are you feeling science yet? Are you getting the science jewels? I know I am. Praise be to Allah. Oh man, he said so much. You know, we're the only people. I was having a conversation with my wife, and I was saying we're the only people who start talking about how we shouldn't do business with family. We're the only people who think that way.
Only people.
And we like share this to our children, don't do business with family. Nobody else does that. You go to Chinatown, I went to a magnet school in Philadelphia. And I was in school with Asian students. And I lie to you not, on the occasion I might go get some Chinese food for dinner. I'd see that same student working in the family restaurant, serving me or cooking. And I said, hey, but we get so stuck thinking because we might deal with a couple of Negroes in our family, because we have them, that now doing business with family is a bad thing. No, we don't have the requisite love and respect for one another and high enough emotional intelligence to conduct business at a high level. So now we tend to have to go, or think we have to go outside our family, but then wonder why we're unable to create lasting wealth for our family. You can't create a legacy or talk about, working on for your last name, but not work with those who share your last name.
Right.
Like, it doesn't work that way. So the quicker we understand that we should be having family meetings and we should be coming up with our family Bible, family Quran. How does our family move and operate? You don't touch the family money till you do X, Y, and Z. Oh, we don't marry people with these types of history. I'm serious. It's like, nothing against anybody, but when you're looking for a mate, when you're doing this is what you look for.
Absolutely.
Right? But it all starts at home, beloved. And I think that that's a part of the science. That's the methodology, right? So when we get in this concept and we start talking about mating and we're getting together in a whole, someone looks good or someone looks like this, or we start to feed too much into our nature. There's this big thing and I won't go too heavily into it, but you hear a lot of people who are into like that poly life, and they start to talk about, well, men or women are not necessarily made to stick with one person. There's a natural level of promiscuity. And I think, a lot of times we have to understand that just because something's natural doesn't mean you're supposed to feed into it.
Right.
Just because you have a natural urge doesn't mean the letting that urge rule you is what you're supposed to do.
Right.
So I just wanted to say that because there's so many things firing right now. But thank you so much, beloved, for what you're saying. I see the black fist rolling in the comments. Brother Raheem, praise be to Allah. Tracy Owens, I see it. Sister Rahima. Brother Raheem and Sister Rahima, I ain't never seen a couple that love each other more. Let me tell you something. Praise be to Allah. Asiatic Soldier, praise be to Allah. We in there thick, family. Thank you. Back to you, bro.
Well, family, we at the 30-minute mark. I can't believe it's been 30 minutes already. At this point in time, we usually like to promote the #1 flagship product of the Nation of Islam, and that's the Final Call newspaper. So at this time, I'm going to play a video about what the Final Call is all about, and then we'll go into this week's issue. Sound good?
Yes, sir.
Let's get it.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call digital edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
And bro, before we get into that, I just realized we never actually introduced ourselves to the audience. So
But I was gonna let you rock. I was gonna let you rock out.
You want to do it now, or you want to just keep going?
Keep going. Yes, sir.
All right, family. So Jabril, can you tell us what this week's issue is about?
Yes, sir. Of course. Praise be to Allah. Family, if you are not familiar at this point or don't know that you've been under a rock, we are proud members of the Nation of Islam under the Honorable Mr. Farrakhan. The Final Call newspaper is local, national, and international news. It's a message dedicated to the resurrection of the black men and women in America and around the world. This issue, nowhere to hide in troubled times, whether it's the recent now outbreak of monkeypox, whether it's COVID-19, whether supply chain issues, rising gas prices, etc. There are a number of things happening in our society that for those of us who are spiritually and scripturally inclined can see that we are walking through those very pages today. But see, when someone has a thorough knowledge of self, God, enemy, and the time, what now is that person's duty but to share it with those who may not know? So family, go get your latest edition of the digital edition. Go to finalcalldigital.com. Also follow at Final Call newspaper on all social media platforms. If you are in the Philadelphia, Richmond, Virginia, or Atlanta, Georgia areas and you want to get your physical copy, you can tap in with your brother, Jabril Muhammad, your brother, Tariq Muhammad, or your brother, Marcus Muhammad, and get on our growing customer list for both the digital and the physical edition, the Final Call newspaper family, giving you good news that you can use.
Excellent. All right, fam. Let's get back into the science of mating. This has been a very intriguing topic, but I wanted to hear from you, Brother Marcus, and hopefully Sister Cecelia will be joining us soon. How has your time counseling others helped you understand the science of mating as a whole?
Well, I thank Allah for all the couples that have come our way. Every time I counsel a couple, I thank Allah that I'm listening to somebody who's reminding me of what I've done in my marriage and how I can avoid the mistakes that they're making. I'm listening to them make mistakes, and it's causing me great reflection inside of myself, and it's helping my marriage so much so because I don't get to make those mistakes no more. I'm learning vicariously through him, through her, and they're talking about where they went wrong in the marriage. And it's teaching us, me and my wife, how to not make those mistakes. That's the most important part for us. As we counsel them, we know that you are going to make mistakes in marriage. That's one of the things that we have to know. But the level of mistakes that you make, if you're making big mistakes, well, you have to have big solutions to those mistakes. You have to correct the mistake that you've made in the marriage. A lot of times we, as Black people, we treat our mistakes just like a big word in the marriage. We go right on by it.
Like a big word. Come on. Oh,
like
that was
a big word.
I like that. Yes, sir.
I don't even want to acknowledge that I don't know this big word. I'm just gonna go by it. And that's how we do. The average human being only knows 400 words considered well.
Come on.
And most of those are little words like is and the and go and stop. We don't know big words. When you hear somebody say a big word, oh my God, we freak out. He said a big word. Did y'all hear what he said? Say that word again. Philanthropy. Woo! We get all crazy. like, he just said a big word, brother. Ask him what it means. Ask him what it means. And a lot of what counseling is asking about what I'm doing and what am I doing wrong. A lot of what counseling is just asking questions to the counselor about what am I doing wrong. This science of mating is so serious. I know we have never thought about the science of mating, but how many times have you ever wondered about the molecular structure, the molecular basis of mating with your spouse?
Come on, we talking, family. Come on.
Hold on. Let me write down the time on this so I can make sure I use it.
Molecular structure of mating.
Yes, sir.
Organisms follow specific cues that specify when and how to find an ideal mate. You knew, brother, that it was time for you to find her. She hopefully knew it was time to find you. The science of mating is concerned with, listen to this good, and a lot of times the parents are more concerned with this than you might be because you still kind of young, but you need to understand that their shade or complexion, that's the science of mating. Their shade or their complexion. Their smell. What kind of smell do you have? Do you leave a smell wherever you go? Your smell is very important. Their height, their weight is very important. Their mindset, their mentality that they're going to give to another human being is also very important in the science of mating. We cannot ever think for a moment. I'm pushing it back because Sister Cecelia has joined us.
Let me adjust you a little bit.
All right, we're going to get it now.
There we go. There we go.
She's here.
Assalamu alaikum, fam.
Wa alaikum salam, Queen.
It's so very important, this science of mating. We should never think for a moment. Like, me and my wife are tall. If you are a tall man, you should generally try to find a taller woman to bear your children, because of when you go to have a baby for that man, the child can get stuck in the womb.
No, wait a minute.
I know you never thought about that, but that's possible. possible that the child can get stuck. So that's something that you have to know, that if you are a rich person, if you come from a rich background, I don't know if you want to marry somebody who never saw riches at all in their life. Because the mentality, the background might be too different for them to even appreciate the background that they are coming from. See, everybody got a background. Everybody got a background. And I would advise all of you who are courting each other, you have to go to where he's from or where she's from. You got to meet their people.
That's right.
You got to know John, and them.
Yep.
You got to know Bebe and them. You got to know them, because if you think it's going to be me and you, baby, against the world, see, that's starting off kind of foul a little bit.
That's right.
It's starting off a little foul, brother. If you don't want to meet her people, she don't want to meet your people.
Come on.
Whose blessing do you need to have in order to marry her, brother?
Come on. Come on.
Whose blessing do she need to have in her family before she can marry you? Who does she got to pass you by and let them approve of you?
Come on.
See, if you come from a family, see, that's what white folks destroy about us as a people. We don't come from nowhere.
Come on.
You ain't got to meet nobody. You ain't got no father to check with before you can get the girl or nothing like that. Because they destroyed that. They destroyed us as a people. And it's a terrible thing that we are faced with in 2022.
Ooh.
Yes,
Lord.
sir. Yes, sir. Oh, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
No, I'm because I gotta go to the queen, because the queen gotta introduce herself. I'm just trying to wrap my head around everything our dear brother just said. But at this time, family,
yes,
we want to introduce to you all, and I think our brother would agree, his better half.
Yes.
Our sister Cecelia Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, queen. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you. All praises due to, I like to say, the other half.
Come on, see, but see how she corrected me though. That's how you know they know what they do. See that?
Yeah.
That was a test. That was a test. No, let me stop. Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Is there anything you'd like to say in introduction before we continue?
I just want to thank you so much for having us on your show tonight. It's really a privilege and honor, especially to see our young, I would say now as we're getting older, our younger generation coming up and taking the reins and taking charge. Y'all are doing big things. Keep it up. Keep on being somebody for our young men to look up to.
Absolutely.
They need positive role models, and I just love to see what you guys are doing. So I thank Almighty God a lot to be here with you guys, and whatever questions that I can answer, I'll be happy to.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, and we're honored to have you on as well. My question is actually for you, Sister Cecelia. What role does ego play in mating? You know, we're taught that God damns the ego, but a lot of times, and Brother Marcus talked about this a little bit, about checking in with the family, about getting that approval from your soon-to-be queen family. But a lot of times, some of us don't feel that we should because of the ego. Like, who is this person to check me to see if I'm qualified enough to marry this woman? Why can't I just marry her? You know, we have a lot of that in the nation, in our communities, white communities. You know, it's that ego is present. So how does one remove the ego, overcome the ego, to understand how important it is to check in with family?
Come on, good chief. That's a good question.
I'll give the example of a tree. When you look at the tree, it has many vines and leaves on that tree. That tree is rooted in something. It's rooted in some type of earth, whether it's in North America, wherever that tree is firmly rooted. You have to look at your mate like that because they came from a family, whether it's functional or dysfunctional or however we want to say it. It is proper for us, and the Quran tells us the ties of relationship, because this person is connected to a mother, to a father, children, uncles, aunts, and it is imperative for you to know where they come from. Why? I can tell you a lot of stuff out of my mouth, but if I'm around you in the environment that you grew up in, like when my husband said, well, when my husband first asked me to marry him, we were 19 years old. And he asked me to marry him 11:55 on my 19th birthday. He was sciencing it up. 11:55, and I was up at school in Alfred, New York. He was in Georgia, and I told him, "Well, give me 2 weeks to think about it. Give me 2 weeks to think about it." He said, "Okay, I'm gonna give you 2 weeks." He called me in 3 days, say, "No, I need an answer now. I can't wait," because I was trying to go home and talk to my parents or whatever. He's like, "No, I need an answer now." So I told him, I said, "Okay, yes." The answer is yes. And so when I called my mother was like, "You said what? You told him yes?" Oh, she was frazzled. And I know she was frazzled because then I got a call from my cousins in them and this one and that one calling me. And it was like when I came home that spring break, it was a dining room full of 4 generations of my family interrogating him to find out, this, that. Well, can you do this and can you do that? And he was answering them. He held his own. And he said at the end, the same God that blessed you to have what you have will bless us too. And that was it. But both of our sides said, no, we want y'all to wait till, go get school done, get this done, get that done first. And then, we would be okay with you getting married and all of that. But there was we said we were getting married at 19, and that's what we did. We got married at 19, but we did go through the process of at least even having our families to have something to say about it. Even though they said wait, we said go. So we still had that opportunity to sit there and talk to the family. So my husband knew. They said, okay, she like this and she like that, and can you put up with her like this and this? I mean, they were just going through it. They didn't hold no punches. They didn't hold any. And that's what you want as a future mate. The Honorable Louis Farrakhan told us, if your future court mate has an ex-husband or ex-wife, you're supposed to go and speak with them before you say I do. Why? Because you are learning from that person what they experienced with that person. So you're going in fully acknowledging all of the information, and we run from it. We run from doing what we are instructed to do, and then on the back end, oh my goodness, why didn't I do? We didn't listen. We didn't follow instruction. Our ego said, I'm grown. I don't need no. Somebody asked, they said, well, I'm 70 years old. Do I still need to do courtship? Like, yes.
Come on.
It did not separate age. It didn't say, oh, at this age, you still have a nature. As long as you have a nature, you need to have a chaperone. You need courtship. Everything has a purpose of protection for both parties. And when we begin to say, let my ego be put aside and take the good instruction. But again, the Quran tells us what? We hate good advisors.
I'm like, should I be taking notes? I'm sitting here trying to. Should I be taking notes? Should I just be listening?
Right. I'm going to be making so many pieces of this episode to just put on social media. It's not even funny. Like, I got so many clips just already ready to go. But we got some questions from the audience. This is from Two Trades Podcast, right here out of Richmond, Virginia. He asked, what if the sister's mother doesn't approve or like you, and the same thing with the mother not liking the sister? Like what would you do?
It's going to happen, and that's everybody's not going to like everybody. That's just how it is. Is that everybody's not going to like everybody, but at least I was respectful enough to meet you, to come to you, to talk to you, and to be honest with what I'm wanting to do, what I would like to do. I would like to marry your daughter. I'm interested in marry. See the word marrying, not shacking up with you. Right there. Marrying, making that word commitment, committing to this person and following my word, practicing my vows, commitment, duty, obligation. That's what I'm wanting to do. And see, some of us are going to buck it because, wow, I mean, you have people that tell you, well, why don't y'all live together for a few years?
Come on.
You have people that tell you, why don't you live together for a few? Why am I going to give you the benefits of a husband and you ain't put a ring on it?
Come on. Talk about it.
Put a ring on it. I was sharing with my husband. I said, we pulled up the thing about our beloved brother DMX and his common law wife.
Come on.
When it comes down to the bare essentials of things like that, you need commitment. Why are you giving a brother 4 children, 3 children, and he has not put a ring on it? And if something happens to him, you have no recourse to protect you. If he passes, you're not on the life insurance policy. And a lot of these companies that have life insurance policies, you have to be a wife or a husband to even collect a penny.
That's right.
That's
I have something very specific I want to ask. You know, being young in our Nation of Islam, you get into a lot of conversations and things seep into the courtship process, and we get infatuated by certain personalities and who's with who and who got the bag, or you should have this and I should have that. What advice do you have for millennial and after age Muslims in the Nation of Islam who may have grown a bit disenfranchised with the courtship process and marriage to other Muslims, thinking that maybe there's no more good ones or this, that, and the third? What would you say to them to have them keep going and continue to trust in that process as they move forward in their sojourn toward oneness with Allah?
My word to that is this. It was set up by Master Fard Muhammad through the most honorable Elijah Muhammad through the honorable Louis Farrakhan. That's enough right there. You keep on. The purpose is first, we have to get to know who you are as an individual. Where are you going? What are your visions, your ideas, your aspirations? You get lockstep in that realm of your mind and grow your relationship with Allah personally. Then you're working on what you need to attract the person that is right for you. The prayer is, oh Allah, send me exactly what's on my list. Oh Allah, send me the person who is right for me for now, for 10 years, for 20 years, because the God is seeing and already sees way, way, way in the future. So you're asking for that one who will be good for you for now until you pass from this earth. But if we looking at what you wearing, you got Gucci, you got Louis Vuitton, you driving a Beamer, you got every color garment in there, you got every color suit. See, we are material and we're not spiritual. So if I'm on the material all the time, I'm going to look for a material spouse. And you wonder why you get bored with each other, because there was no foundation. You're being taught to be a righteous Muslim, but we're submerged in the world all up until our eyeballs.
trying to understand a specific question. So
I got you. You talking about Herbert?
Yes.
Yeah, I got you. So this is from my father-in-law. Yes, and I hope I'm understanding this right. How do you culminate years of matrimony with mates that are unevenly yoked? I believe he's saying, how do you make up for the lost time if you're unevenly yoked, or when you realize it too late? And Pop, you can let me know in the comment section if I'm understanding that right.
What I'm understanding about his question is that they were unevenly yoked. The statistics say they're not supposed to make it, but they still are making it. And I can tell you, brother, that maybe you were unevenly yoked when you started out, but over time, as you get to know her, she gets to know you, you find that you have a lot more in common than you have with you're not being in common. And so you learn how to adopt and get along with each other well enough to continue in a relationship with this person. That's the beautiful thing about unevenly yoked, because sometimes you are not going to be unevenly yoked. You're not going to be evenly yoked with the person initially, but you got to celebrate the differences that you do have. That's what I've learned in my 30 years of being married. Celebrate the differences. We're not always going to see everything the same way. We could be looking at something and I can see it from my perspective and she could see it from her perspective, and we both could be right. There is no right or wrong. We both can be right from our extension, our expression of our sentiment. It is, you got to understand the nature of male and female. That's the thing that Minister Louis Farrakhan is trying to guide us toward, not understanding something other than that. It's the nature of the male, the nature of the woman. When he talks about the nature, I don't think there's anybody that does it better than Minister Farrakhan. He explains it so perfectly for us to know that your wife is a God as well as you. She is not a second-class citizen in our nation. She is a God with you, brother, with you, sister. God is real.
Right.
This is another, I'm trying to make sure I phrase this correctly. Sometimes or many times you may have brothers in or out of the nation that are good brothers and very productive. You go out, you're very active in whatever organization, you will build business, you cultivate your surroundings with the idea that it is for your family and those after you.
Yes.
However, you sometimes may exceed the limits to where as though you created a sort of imbalance at home. And now you feel like maybe what you're doing is underappreciated when you've tipped the scale too much in favor of what you're doing outside and not getting enough attention home. How, as a man, can we start seeing the signs of imbalance when it comes to domestic and external life, and how can we begin to address that?
Okay. The thing that I've done, brother, is I've written a book. The book is called Marriage Leadership: How to Lead Your Wife and Children During These Trying Times. It's about leadership. Women expect you as a man to lead. They don't always expect to be. If they were leading in their life When you come into their life, it's like, oh my God, I can rest for a minute. He got it. Woo. That's what the hope is. The hope is that we are leaders. We have to be, if we're going to be married to today's MGT. There's a difference between yesterday's MGT and today's MGT. That man said, yesterday's cost is not the same cost. It's not the same.
Right.
It's not the same. And I can encourage you that you're going to have to learn leadership as a man. Our women don't want to be the leaders. They want to take off that strong, you a strong Black woman. They want to take that cape off. At least sometimes in their marriage to you. You be the strong Black man. You have to be, if you're going to be married to them, because there's an expectation that you will lead them, you will lead the family to greatness. That's what they expect you to do. And if you don't do it, they are sorely disappointed in you and me. We have to learn leadership of our families.
How do you balance it all?
And balance it.
That's what he is.
You got to balance it. Now, you can't be all for God and not for your own family. You can't be all for your business and not for your family. Your wife married you, not your job. She married you. She wants you, at least sometimes, to be at home with her and to go out with her and to love spending time with her like you love spending time on your job. She is looking at you, and there is, Allah says in the Holy Quran, He is aware of subtleties. And men and women are also aware of subtleties. So when you keep on choosing the job and you're not choosing her, she starts to develop a little complex here that you love the job more than me. That may not be true, but she starts to feel that way because you're treating the job better than you're treating her. So you have to have business. I agree that we have to have business, but you gotta be a home person as well. You can't love going out of your home more than you love being at home with her and sharing time with her. That's one of the greatest things that you can do as a man. I have learned in these last 15 years that I've been back in Atlanta, I've learned the value of home time. Not always being on the run from your family. Your wife needs you. Each child needs you differently than the other one does. As you start having children, you start to see that. Each child needs me. One child's a little bit more emotional. One child is strictly business. Okay, Dad, how you doing? Okay, you got my money? That's how they'll be with you. That's how children are. And you have to take the time to learn each and every one of the children that your wife is giving you. That's a gift. And we got to restore back the dignity of her as a wife, as a mother. She goes through pure hell with those children. They are babies' kids a lot of times. And you have to restore her honor, her place in the children's lives as well as in your life as a man. I'm in school right now, and we are in this course called Affairs and how affairs happen. Woo. It's a deep one, brother. It's so deep to hear men talking about affairs with women. and how willing the women were to be in an affair with a married man. No one respects the sanctity of marriage no more. If no one respects it, do you respect it? You respect the fact that you are married and that you said to your wife, I do. When you said I do, you said I do to duty. That's what we got to remember. I know I'm married. Even if the people outside me don't know, I know I'm married. So I got to be very mindful of that fact all the time. It's deep when you can tell your wife, sometimes I forget I'm married. That's deep when you tell a woman that. Because that's showing that you don't have the same level of care that she has in the marriage. It's very deep, brother.
Well,
I'm glad all my people that I associate with don't like their jobs more than their wives. And there ain't no way in hell I'm gonna be choosing that over my queen. I'm just saying.
Nah,
that can't fly. Jabril, you got anything?
Well, first and foremost, the fact that last 30 minutes just sped by, and I feel like we were so beautifully fed. I first and foremost want to thank you both. But come on, we have to do a part 2 to this, because this is a science that we really need to understand. Because in this science is the understanding as to why the harder sciences are so necessary. Because if you have the foundation of a beautiful marriage, then you know why you're being an engineer. You know why you're going to be a cardiologist. You know why you're going to go out and be a mathematician, because at your core, you're a part of the very cell of a nation. So now when you're on that job, you're building that business, my wife breathed into me today. My husband breathed life into me today. I know that when I put this together, those generations after me will have something to touch, feel, experience, and extend by the grace and mercy of Allah. So I definitely want to do this again. I'll talk to Reek to see if we can be 3 couples on, maybe get our wives on with us. I think that'll be great. Put a 2 in the comments, family, if y'all want a part 2. I need 2s in the comments. 2s in the comments, family, if we want a part 2. Praise be to Allah.
While our audience is doing that, we are coming up on the end of the program. Family, we have been thoroughly fed, and I know you have. And if you're interested in learning more about our content or coming back and learning, what the STEM Files is about, and as well as catching this episode on the replay, just coming back to parse this hours worth of gem diamonds. Definitely tap in with us on social media, hosted by Tariq Cardiac and Jabrain Engineer. Follow us on the STEM Files, at the STEM Files on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok, the STEM Files on Facebook and YouTube. We are the voice of STEM talent in Black culture. Let me see those 2s real quick.
They all over the chat, bro. 2s is thick. So we got to do this part 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got a thing on the STEM Files called the STEM Files Speed Round. And it's basically a part of the show where we give you a bunch of random, lightning fast questions, just to kind of get to know you more outside of tonight's topic. Is that all right with y'all?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So one person can answer, and then the other person can answer as well. So ladies first, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. Y'all ready? So these are quick questions. So here we go. All right. For the both of you. The first thing you do or think of when you wake up?
Allah.
Allah.
Praise be to Allah. Okay. Hot or cold?
Hot.
Hot.
Walking or jogging?
Walking.
All right, simultaneous. Okay.
Professional or volunteer work?
Both.
Professional.
Ooh, I like that.
Favorite pair of shoes of all time.
I don't have a favorite. Oh, I do like J. Renee. I do like J. Renee shoes.
Okay.
I definitely do. Yeah.
Okay.
And I had these pair of they was the Pumas.
Oh, Pumas.
Puma's got some good shoes.
Oh
yes,
my
sir.
God, I wore them to death.
Yes, sir. Okay. All right. Here we go. iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Well, and that's spoken.
Y'all cute.
Next question. Here we go. Favorite thing to cook?
My favorite thing to cook. Favorite. I would say my bean soup because I can eat off my bean soup all the time. So, and then I got the prostate cancer cookbook that the minister's daughters was selling for the prostate cancer, and I have the recipe of bean soup that he cooks at his table. So you definitely know I do that one all the time.
Come on, that's what's up. Okay.
I love eating the bean soup.
All right.
Yes,
okay. Favorite song of all time?
Oh my God, of all times. Goodness, it's too many. Of all times. It's too many to even think.
All right, that's okay. You, Brother Marcus?
I like Luther Vandross' song, So Amazing.
Come on. How I know? Come on now. Luther, he seems like a Luther man. Come on. All right. Youth engagement or raising money for a nonprofit?
Say the first one.
Youth engagement or raising money for a nonprofit?
It would be both because I was a both, so it would be both.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
And mine is youth engagement. That's where I started at. That's where I'm still at.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The worst job you ever had?
Worst job I ever had. I liked all my jobs. It's just factors in it. So it wasn't like they were the worst. It's like it's just factors in it that you dislike, but they weren't bad jobs because it was always jobs where I was helping people. So
gotcha. Okay.
So I didn't have a worse job.
Praise to Allah. Brother Marcus?
I had a job at an associated grocery store, and they worked like a Hebrew slave in the hot sun. I thought that week was never going to end, but I finally made it through.
Praise be to Allah. Okay. If you were stuck on an island for a year, you could only listen to 3 albums. What would they be?
I would have to go to, if I was stuck on 3 albums. One would definitely be the Ministers, Mendelssohn, and Beethoven.
Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I love Mariah Carey, so I love Mariah Carey, so it would be Mariah Carey. And another one would be like it would have to be a compilation of 80s and 90s jams, club music, R&B, so something like that. A compilation of 80s and 90s.
I like it. Brother Marcus?
Yeah, I would have to go with Luther.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
The essential Luther Vandross.
Yes, sir.
And I would also I would choose some gospel.
Come on.
I'm a big gospel fan. And the old gospel.
Come on now.
Old gospel.
And he means the old gospel.
And I like, what's this brother's name? He's a older man. I think he passed on, but I can't call his name. Oh my goodness.
He'll remember it.
I'll remember it. But he has a song called I'm gonna get an old timer's disease.
It's all right. We can come.
I'll remember it later, brother.
Yes, sir. All good. Okay. So we're gonna. Okay, here we go. So if you weren't, the marriage keepers, if you weren't in your current profession, what would you do or be doing?
It would still be something on that, even if it wasn't the marriage keepers. Before the marriage keepers came, it was and is still to the Youth Intervention and Training Institute, which is our nonprofit organization that we've had since 1999. So that was before, and then from that, the marriage keepers and my husband being very active with our singles. I don't know if some of us remember when before Facebook, our brother here in Atlanta, Brother Patrick Muhammad, had a site that the Muslims were going on and doing singles events and doing things before Facebook came out. And that's really how it all began.
Wow, praise be to Allah. Okay, praise be to Allah, Brother Marcus.
I would be speaking at high schools and middle schools across the state of Georgia, motivating today's young people.
Praise be to Allah. I can definitely see you doing that. All right, here's the last question, and listen closely. All right. My name is Brother Marcus and Sister Cecilia, and I am
My name is Sister Cecelia, and I am growing into being a woman of God.
Praise be to Allah. Love it, love it. And Brother Marcus?
My name is Brother Marcus, and I'm in love.
That's the best response, I think, on the show. I love it. Praise be to Allah. I love these responses.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's crazy. We just had a couple on our last week's episode. And to follow up with this, and I'm sure they're watching now, this is like the perfect part 2 to that in terms of power couple. And you both have given us so much to pull on, to pull from. Not perfect examples, but close to perfect examples of what a black man and a black woman should be together and how they should love each other. So we want to thank you personally and on behalf of the audience. Thank you so much for giving us some time and being here for us. And thank you, Brother Marcus, for cornering me in the back of the graduation and making sure that we had y'all on. Brother Marcus is an intimidating looking brother, and I'm not too shabby myself on that end. So just imagine, 2 6'4" or 5 brothers just coming at each other, be like, look, you're gonna have me on the show. Right. But I appreciate you, and I pray that you're on again. But family, also, can you tell us more about your marriage retreat coming up in August?
Absolutely. This is the 12th annual marriage retreat. It will be, inshallah, in St. Louis, August the 25th through the 28th, the last week in August. We have a version of in-person, which is $300, and it's that much because it also includes our ball. We're having a ball on that Saturday. And then we have, for those who will be online, it's $125. So we will have in person and online. You can see the hotel information and everything you need, as well as our itinerary on www.themarriagekeepers.com, and it's all one word, themarriagekeepers.com. There are no spaces, and that's purposeful because that represents that there's no air between you and God.
And our telephone number to call is simply 770-256-8856, 770-256-8856. This year, inshallah, we pray that we will have all the people who have agreed to come to, or at least agreed to participate in the marriage retreat, to be there. We expect all of our regional ministers to bless us, to grace us with their presence. Online via Zoom, that's fine. All praise is due to Allah. We especially want our regional minister, Minister Abdul Malik Saeed Muhammad, to be there. He is going to do a wonderful job. If you've never seen his communications presentation. It is outstanding, and it is for your marriage. I can tell you that. Everything we are doing, when I say I'm in love with you. I love you enough to do what we have to do to make this marriage retreat happen. And I can tell you that I'm growing more in love with you as the time goes on, not less in love with you, more in love with you. And I pray Allah will bless and extend my days so that I can keep on loving you, because you are wonderful to love. The theme for this year's marriage retreat is the basis. Put it back up there again. One more second.
Yeah. 1 second.
Is the basis for marriage is duty first to him who created us. And that's a direct quote from the Honorable Louis Farrakhan when he did the "What is Your Role" lecture. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So,
and also want to add that this is not for people just because you have problems. You're coming to renew, empower, invigorate your marriage, to be around couples who are striving to do the same. Fight for your marriage so that we have happy, healthy marriages that produce happy, healthy children.
That's right.
Again, thank you so much for that. And I unfortunately have a prior engagement, so I won't be there. But I'm sure. Matter of fact, you know what? Jarrell got a baby coming on the way, so I don't think either one of us will.
That's what they had, an online version, so I'm gonna definitely look into that online.
Yeah, online.
Yeah, yeah, definitely online version. Won't be there in person, but I definitely will promote the mess out of this and make sure constantly being reminded of it so they can go to it. And yeah, well, family, for those who are watching, this has been another edition of the STEM Files, where we highlight where we are the voice of STEM talent in Black culture, highlighting the best and brightest in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We went a little bit outside the box, outside of what we usually do. We went into another type of science, and that's the science of mating. And for those who are watching, I'm sure that you understand exactly what that science is, or understand it better than before. So, family, thank you again. Jarrell?
Yes, sir. Beautiful time. I've been thoroughly fed. As I'm listening, I'm further invigorated and cemented in the fact that I knew I made the right decision in getting married to who I got married to. Now, the height thing.
Y'all off with that.
We're a little off with that, but the height of her spirit matches mine. All praises. You see what I did? You see that?
Yes.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
So we're definitely equally yoked in that regard, but I was definitely very tickled when it said, like, you want to find out how tall this is? I said, I ain't doing a lot. But I've been thoroughly fed. I've enjoyed this show like none other. I'm going to study this show. We're definitely going to have you all back. So, family, until next time, thank you all for joining us. Jabrilian Engineer, Tariq Cardiac, the Marriage Keepers, Brother Marcus and Cecilia Muhammad. Until next time, family. Peace.
Peace.
Assalamualaikum.